Presentation for Lexi 13. So the hashtag is Lexi LEXI13, and there's like 100 or so women that are coming in Seattle to this conference. I think I have the images loaded up there. Yeah. So this is some of the speakers. Craves Melody, who's been on the Young Female Entrepreneurs live show before. She's going to be there, and she's going to speak on the concept of flipping it. And a number of other women that are absolutely incredible that I'm really excited and just honored to be in the same room as. So I'm very excited about that. So if you guys can give me your feedback and maybe like what you think of balance or what you think of when I give the presentation, I'm going to definitely make two precursors to the 7 minutes, and that I'm a wife, business owner, and mom. However, this is not necessarily about being a mom, a wife, or a business owner. The Balance Talk is not just for mothers and business owners, but for anyone that cares for others and wants to solve a problem or change the world. So, Corey, your dog totally fits into the bill of this. Taking care of your dog, loving on your dog, that sounds good to me. And then the second is that I want to make sure that you know that this assumes that you know what you want, because that's a totally other topic in of itself. That'll be another 7 minutes or 7 hours or 7 months or 7 years, depending on who you are. So those are my two precursors. So I met up with my high school besties over Skype. Here we go. I'm going to change the slide. Ready? Let's see if it works. Yeah. So I met up with my high school besties on Skype about a week after I was approached to speak on the topic of balance, being a mom, business owner, etc. And I was telling them about how much I despised the word balanced. And you guys can totally just like lean into me on this with the chat, but I really don't like the word balanced, and here's why. I'm a self-help type, and all of my studies have shown that those who have made something of themselves, they've helped people solve problems, been innovators, they're people that aren't balanced. They're obsessed. You read about like whether it's Steve Jobs or whoever it is, they're obsessed with their company, or it doesn't even have to be a company, right? Or a business. It's some kind of social movement where we're progressing people. They're obsessed with it. And so that's always been an issue with mine. So one of my girlfriends mentioned how the company she works at, it's this girlfriend right here. The company that she works at is making it a priority to allow their employees to live a more flexible lifestyle. And when she said the word flexible, I knew, I was like, okay, Allison, that is totally what I needed. I needed that word. That was perfect. And so I asked her permission to use it. She said, okay. So this company gives her the ability to be able to work out in the morning. Now they're just starting to do this. Or they're actually even buying their employees iPhones and having looser policies on getting approvals to move forward on something. So the idea of flexibility in their work day and also in moving things forward as far as projects go. So I was struggling with how to describe what I had wanted to really have come across in this talk. And then when she said flexible, I really did know that I had it. And it's not about living a balanced life. I don't live a balanced life, and I don't even really believe in a balanced life. I really think that that was for the industrial age. So today I live a flexible life, where I can pause my workday to run to the grocery store. I work late so I can spend time with my son, or have my husband watch him at night while I'm at the studio. And I think a lot of people can relate to that, especially like Stacy, who's in the chat. I know that you're also very much with part of that. So going on to that, to me, when I hear the word balanced, I just want to qualify this. And you guys might have different definitions of balance. I really feel like, and this is getting off my presentation a little bit, but balanced is a made-up word for press, right? So I watch The View in the mornings when I make my breakfast. I'm a Hulu Plus person, so I watch the day after. But Mark Bernay, is that how you say his name? Bernay? He was on The View, and he was saying that reality, the genre of reality, is a made-up word by the press. And I feel like balance is almost a made-up word, right? What does it mean? I think it means different things to different people. So to me, just to qualify this, balance to me means 8 hours work, 8 hours free time, 8 hours sleep. So really living a balanced kind of life where you have different things into different categories. And for most, this probably consists of, especially for those, this is probably not really relative to a lot of you in the chat, but it means 2 hours commute time, an hour and a half breakfast, get dressed, an hour and a half dinner time, and getting ready for bed, 2 hours of TV. You know, like it's all broken down into hours. And that to me doesn't sound like innovation or forward movement, right? In a traditionally balanced life, you play the role of a cog in a larger machine, as Seth Godin says. On the other hand, being flexible to me means being a positive, focused person that knows what needs to get done during the day to accomplish their end goal. Some days that means not working. Some days it means working 18 hours. Some days it means being at the zoo while replying to emails, kind of like what Aaron was talking about as far as work goes. This is not something new, and it's not even something that's inherently female. So 2 prominent examples of successful people that live flexible lives that I can think of are actually coming from men. When I was pregnant, I remember reading a story on Richard Branson, who said in his early virgin days, he would hold conference calls with his kids playing at his feet under his desk. And another story that I read about was from Ivanka Trump's autobiography, in that her dad, Donald Trump, would take his kids, they'd accompany him to, at young ages even, to these construction job sites to have that quality time. So they were just flexible with their lifestyles. Not necessarily balanced, but just made sure that at the end of the day, they got the job done. So why do we constantly talk about balance over the idea of being flexible? Because balance is sexy, right? It's usually framed in spa retreats and working from your laptop on the beach, the kind of copy that our favorite bloggers write about, right? Passive income, that kind of a thing. On the other end, flexibility can mean that your toddler is peeing on your carpet while you're replying to an email on your iPhone. So embracing flexibility could really drive the average mind absolutely crazy. It's not necessarily predictable or structured, which is what balance achieves for us. So how can we embrace flexibility without going crazy? It's essential that we become the master of our thoughts and destiny. Absolutely essential. We need to believe 3 things in order to be flexible so we can move forward. And those things are that life has limitless potential, the universe is friendly, and your goals are something you can achieve. So we need to focus on these 3 things, almost obsess over them. There are pillars of flexibility, right? So this is not something that always comes easy in my life today, believing that life is limitless, that the universe is friendly, and that my goals are something I can achieve. My company produces live streaming events like the one you're watching right now. We not only actually produce what you see on your screens, but we're also responsible for the technology behind it. And my toddler's potty training. I've said a couple times over the past 2 months that I may have a heart attack before I turn 30. So to top that off, of course, I've done a lot of work recently to bring myself back to focusing on the 3 pillars of flexibility. So I know it's possible, whether you're a single mom or you're Sheryl Sandberg, to produce awesome results by being flexible. The success stories are out there. While my business is not $1 million business just yet, I was lucky to have a success experience in my early 20s as a coach of a high school drill team. Oh, that's Allie Brown. And there's Derek Halpern. You guys were probably all there for that. This is just a sneak peek. That's our audio board. So their goal that year, this is the high school drill team, their goal that year was to achieve a superior rating at state, which would have been a first for the team in the history of their existence. The year was definitely filled with a number of trials and tribulations, but towards the end of their season, the team was making progress. The team qualified for state, actually taking first in their category of districts. Then a few weeks later, at the end of their road, where their goal was going to be tested, they did it. They were given a superior rating, which for a lot of you probably doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, but that was a really big deal. And they ended up taking first in the category in their division, even bigger. So out of the entire state of Washington, everyone that was a 3A drill team, they got first. Then the best part came when we were driving on the bus back to the hotel, which is this picture in the background. I was able to share with the girls that they not only reached their goal of being a superior, they took first place in their category, which is the drill team out of their state, but they also took first in their entire division. So every 3A school in the state of Washington, they were the number 1 team that year. So this picture reminds me that anything is possible, and that's what success feels like. These girls went through crazy amounts of drama. They're teenage girls. There was sickness, all sorts of, you can name it. And at the very end of their year, because of their focus, their determination, they were able to reach their goal, but really go beyond what any of them really believed was possible. So this image reminds me that life has limitless potential, that the universe is friendly, and that my goals are something I can achieve. Or your goals are something that you can achieve. So now there's a lot of factors that led to this success and many other successes out there. Taking action, working hard, getting out of your comfort zone, getting your entire team aligned with a common vision, etc. However, none of this will be possible without having the ability to actually do, and that requires flexibility, which requires you to believe that life has limitless potential, that the universe is friendly, and that your goals are something that you will achieve. So stop making your kids an excuse as to why you aren't big. To change the world, let's stop talking about balance. Let's be focused, be flexible, and know what you want, believe it, be driven, and do the work. So I'm committed. I hope you are too.